Hello, hello. Ba-da-bum. Hey y'all. How are we doing tonight? Hope we're doing well. Duality, Willow. Maximia? Maximia? Is that how you pronounce that? I think it is. Or Maxi. Obviously we're gonna wait till probably 9 or 9-ish. Hi Lily. But I hope you all are having a lovely night. I am doing pretty well. I've been animating all day for schoolwork projects, so I'm a little tired. My hands are a little tired. And this is a nice break. Slash way for me to procrastinate. Because I am in crunch time for final stuff. So, we have like 2 weeks. Two and something weeks to get this final project done, and we still haven't started shading any of the scenes, and I still need to finish lining like 2.5 scenes. So it is crunch time, but it's going decent. Actually, do you guys want to see the project? I think I can. It's not like it's fucking. It's on a little VOD. Hold on. Let me see. Look at your animator crunching. Very true. Let me pull up Sunny Vegas. And Toon Boom. So it's a project that we have to work on in groups. Full screen. No? You want a full screen? No, you don't want a full screen. Okay. That's fine. And so I did the animation for some of the beginning stuff, but this is like one of my little sections, that I have animation stuff done for. And, I have to finish working on some of the later scenes. But it has been work and a half to get this shit done. So this is the scene I was working on. And then I have some of these lines already now, or at least keyframed. But this needs to be done, and then I have this whole section that don't have backgrounds yet. I'm the one in charge of all the backgrounds, and so I need to finish these boards. But yeah, 2 weeks and I still have a shit ton to do. And then these are clips from some of the other animators we have in our group. But yeah, it's a fun little project. So, blah. But it has taken me, it is making me crunch. That's a lot of work. I could never. That's what happens when you're in your final semester of art school. But graduating soon. Oh my god. I only have like less than a month until I graduate. No, about a month until I graduate. So, very exciting stuff. And then I will be done. Outie. Hi, Skitty. Lovely for you to make it. I'll wait a couple more minutes since I kind of started a little early. But what I have been spinning around in my head is EMC2, and I know we already talked about it yesterday, but I just keep thinking about it. I got a 10-week summer internship. That's awesome. Congrats. At least I assume you're excited about it. Hello, Crenshaw. I'm very spinning MCE2. Yeah. It's spinning around in my brain a lot. I completely forgot yesterday was Monday and I missed stream. Oops. Yikes. That's okay. I'm gonna do a really rough summary, but it might be worth it to listen to yesterday's episode. Or yesterday's VOD episode, whatever. Because it was quite good. IMO. I only forgot about stream it today because I got the day off. Nice. Well, we love a day off. And sometimes you know, forget about a stream. That's okay. I always miss the good chapters. Thankfully, you didn't miss 36, because 36 is the big one. And today's chapter is really good too. At least I think so. So I think all these chapters from kind of here on out are pretty banger. We are in the final stretch. I also like, this is weird, this is a tangent. Have you guys ever, like, you eat, like, too many salty foods, and your tongue feels like it has, like a rash on it? Not that no, that's maybe bad, but, like, that it, like, it's, like, scratchy. I don't know. I think I definitely ate too many salty foods, but now it just kind of, like, it doesn't hurt. Well, I guess hurt is a descriptor, but, it just kind of stings a little bit. And so I keep having, yeah, like sore-ish. I think sore is not a bad term for it. I'm kind of a freak. Well, I don't know if I'm a freak, but I really like salty foods. Like, really like salty foods. So if I, like, you know, put salt on my food, right? Like, let's say I'm having, like, I don't know, chicken nuggets, right? Salt will obviously, like, fall onto the inside of the plate, right? So it's not just landing on the food. And as I'm eating the food, I'll, like, you know, lick my finger and I'll dip it in the salt that's, like, scattered around the plate, like the little bits, and I'll eat that as well, because I just like the taste of salt. Is that weird? I don't think that that's that weird, but it's just, like, salt is quite yummy. It's true. And it's like, if I'm eating something sweet, okay, this one's maybe weirder, but if I like, if I don't put dishes away, right, I'll, like, set, because I have another desk behind me, I have two desks, I have another desk behind me, I'll set my dirty dish on the desk behind me, because I don't want to go downstairs, right? So, the dish is back there, and it has still, like, leftover salt on it. Let's say later in the day, I'm eating something sweet, right, at my desk. To offset it, I will then reach behind me, grab the plate with the leftover salt, and then continue, and then dip my finger again, eat the salt as I'm eating the sweet. Just, it's convenient, it helps balance it out. It's like, I don't know. So I don't know if that's maybe more on the weird scale. It's on the normalist, but it's not the weirdest. Yeah, I think so. Gotta get that diversity of flavor groups. Yeah, absolutely. Are you a deer or perhaps a cow? Or any beast that is fed salt blocks to lick as a treat? I think that I would enjoy licking salt blocks. I would like to lick a salt block. To be fair, actually, I can't say this because I'm quite a picky eater. But there are a couple things that are weird. Have I had this discussion on stream yet before? I feel like if you could get a hold, if you could ethically get a hold, if you could ethically get a hold of human meat, would you try it? My answer is absolutely yes. I just want to know. I just really want to know. If I could ethically get a hold, and if I could ethically commit a bit of cannibalism, I absolutely would. Like, it is no doubt in my mind. Everybody, a lot of people, like 70% of people that I've talked to are like, that's gross, absolutely not, never. I think it would be interesting. Like, I don't know. There's a story I saw, because I've looked it up. I've looked up, like, have people, you know, like, is there a way to get a hold of, like, human meat in, like, a way that isn't, like, I don't know, killing somebody, right? And somebody, I found this story, this, like, news story of somebody who got, like, amputated, right? Or whose leg had to be amputated, for, like, a surgery or something, like, something bad happened in an accident. And the doctors, like, gave them back the amputated leg. And the person decided, had, like, a friend who was a cook, and the guy was like, well, I would never get this opportunity ever, like, ever in my life. like, and then he hit up his cook friend and was like, hey, would you like be down to like cook part of my leg and then we can try it? And the cook was like, sure. And so the guy like contacted a bunch of his friends and were like, hey, we're gonna hang out and like try human meat, do you want to come? And he had like a little party of like him and like 5 or 7 like friends, and they all like tried part of his dude's leg. And I was like, if that, I would do that exact thing. If I ever got amputated and had that opportunity, I would do exactly that. That's like, when would you ever get the opportunity? You wouldn't. That's like the only time you can do that. If I got a call from a friend that was like, hey, I just, do you want to try a part of my body that we're gonna cook? I'd be like, fuck yes. That's awesome. I would not seek it out, but if I was in a situation where I was offered ethically sourced human meat, then I guess I'd say yes. Yeah, see, like that's kind of, where I'm at. Like, we avoid diseases and stuff, then, and yeah, but it's a fascinating thing to think about, yeah. I feel like if it's, like, cooked properly, it's, like, fine. I don't know. Maybe not. Hey guys, got amputated, want to taste? Yeah. So, but that's like the only example of a story I could find, or at least the big one that I found, because there were maybe a couple offshoots, but I was like, damn, that's funny as hell. I think they said it tasted similar to chicken, which doesn't, I would say doesn't surprise me, but actually I don't really know. Feels like this is a conversation that DSK would have. I feel like Dave and Solux would talk about ethical cannibalism, and Carcat would be a little horrified and would come into the conversation. Like, I think that Dave and Solux are talking about this in the kitchenette like one day, and Solux is kind of maybe even sharing that like maybe that's not as, I don't know, taboo with trolls or something, and Dave's like sharing about it, and then Carcat bursts in and is like, what is wrong with you two? And then Carcat's like go and to like tell Solux like, what the fuck are you talking about? Cannibalism is not like even morally like gray, even still in troll society. You're just weird. You're just a freak. You know what? Oh man. Okay, I wrote a really funny bit. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, actually, this is kind of really an SFW. Not really, but well, it is. Let me see if I can find it. I wrote a bit of writing. I wrote a bit of writing, and it brought up this exact thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can, like... Okay, this is kind of... This is kind of, like... Okay, if you're this is kind of sexual content. I'm just gonna be reading it because it's a pester log that I wrote from Dave's POV, like Dave and Carcat convo. But just if you're, I'm warning ahead of time. Like, is a little whatever. So Dave starts. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but Dave is like, what do you call it? Bored and right, like messaging Carcat. And he eventually like just starts talking about like speculating about troll sex. and okay, here we go. Again, big warning. You can mute the stream if you want. I'll take my cursor off the stream when we're done. But and I'll just jump into it. And let me see, where's a good place for me to start? Okay, this is, again, Dave talking. You know, it's wild. In human categories, knife play is like a niche of a niche kink. because putting sharp metal all up in your little delicate private parts should be a big no-no lesson, but trolls just have that desire built into their biology. Like, yes, please daddy, stab me all pitch light. Wait, do you guys don't have dads? Do trolls not have daddy kinks? That'd be kind of tragic. Troll BDSM must have some even more batshit stuff than humans do. I mean, even tentacle porn is probably in the range of normal for you guys, right? I don't look at that shit, but Jade told me you guys have alien tentadicks, so if stabbing people is just considered the average vanilla ice cream flavor of troll sex, then what's supposed to be considered taboo? What's the honey jalapeno pickle flavor? Hot, or how down and dirty do trolls get? Is cannibalism a troll kink? And then Karkat replies for the first time, holy fuck, please stop talking, for the love of God, stop talking. And then they return from there. So it's like, I'm just... No, he's got a point. Thank you. He does have a point. So yeah, I was like writing this and I was like giggling because I was like, yeah, this is something that Dave would fucking say. Karkat, let him cook. Oh my god. Let him cook. Okay, well, let's hop into alternate universe summary stuff. By summary stuff, I mean I didn't write a summary, because I'm an idiot. Not an idiot. I was busy today animating, so I didn't write a summary. So we're just gonna kind of fuck it, we ball a little. And I'm gonna just read some of the summary stuff. Let's see. Okay. My favorite Dave Cat combos are the ones that end in Karkat going, holy shit, please shut the fuck up. Really, it really is. They're my favorite. I think, and now, hear me out, the reversal, where Karkat says something so wild that Dave is begging Karkat to please stop talking, or says something so embarrassing or whatever. Those are rare, right? Rare, because most things do not trip up Dave. I would say like 98% of conversation topics do not trip up Dave, but I think that every now and then Karkat will land on a fucking gold mine that Dave gets like super flustered or whatever, embarrassed about, and Dave is like begging Karkat to shut up. I love them both. Okay, so alternate universe summary really quick. I'm gonna have to remember to maybe mute that section of my stream. I don't know, it'll be fine. Okay, so really quick summary of what happened last chapter. Main things is that Karkat went and got Solux back, or at least got his soul back from Aradia by taking half of his lifespan in these little like sand hourglasses and putting it into Solux's. So giving Solux half of his time to live, which was able to get his soul to be like quote unquote revived. Karkat then like teleports back to reality through Rose summoning him back. And then Karkat like summons Solux's soul back into his body. And so now Solux is like there, but he also doesn't have Dave's rib anymore because Dirk took it. And so Solux kind of is soulless, mortal. He's there and he like feels things, but he's not like the same exactly. And then we skip over to Dave for a little bit because Karkat basically decides like, hey, we're gonna go and get Dave back. And Solux is like, okay, let's go to hell. And then they decide to go to hell. And then we jump back to Dave, who is still in hell, and he ends up like time traveling on accident, and he goes to a time pre-event, right? And he meets a Solux, right? Pre-event Solux, and Dave is very confused about where exactly he is or when he is, right? And he ends up getting a hold of the sword that Solux and Dave stole from Dirk, that Dirk used to kill Caliborn. And so Dave grabs a hold of that, and then Dave goes to visit his mom, or he tries to visit his mom. His mom is not there, or is, but she's not the same, and Dave doesn't know what the fuck's going on because like Solix can't get into the house. Solix also doesn't know who Roxy is, and Dave ends up finding an address for Rose to some apartment in Manhattan. He goes there, meets Rose, who is, again, pre-event Rose, but is, like, the super, powerful seer god, right? Or human god, demigod, whatever. And Rose and Solix kind of, or not Solix, Rose and Dave have a bit of a back and forth where Rose explains a lot of the stuff that we learn already, like, we know. Dave learns that he's a god of time, etc., etc. Rose gets some information from Dave about, the future and this different alternate reality that they end up creating with the event. And Rose, Dave kind of doesn't know what to do next. And Rose says, well, if you want to help me with something, she's like, I need you to help me steal an instrument. And Dave's like, cool. All right. Can do. So yeah. And that's where we're at. So it is chapter 38 now, with, time/battle scars. And we are at, chapter 38, fucking 12k words for this one. So not too bad. And we are going to hop right in after I get a little sip of water. Okay, here we go. Goodness, let me rearrange my chair. Okay. Now, try not to overreact, but I need you to steal this instrument from a god made by the devil himself. It's a solid... Rose starts. Oh, June's gold fiddle. Yeah, I've seen that before. You nod. Rose frowns at you. She'd clearly been building to the reveal of her dramatic quest, and you've accidentally undercut her with your words. When I said don't overreact, I didn't mean you should underreact quite that much, Rose reprimands you. Hey, I'm sorry, but I've seen it before. I know about it, the whole devil went down to Georgia thing. I'd really like to know what's up with Georgia as a place, but I guess I gotta prioritize my mysteries right now. I could just go ask her for... You trail off as you feel that idea unfolding, tracking June down and asking her for the fiddle. That path feels wrong and dead somehow. What? Rose asks. I think I have to steal it without her seeing me. I just get that feeling, you tell her, even though it feels like a weird thing to say. I would listen to that if I were you. In my experience, with powers of a divine nature, they're intuitive, even if you don't know just yet why you think something's worth paying attention to, or why, even if you don't know just yet why you think something it's worth paying attention to. Now, do you happen to know where the fiddle can be found? Rose asks. No clue, you admit. Well, lucky for you, I do know. I've tried to take it before, but whenever I get anywhere near it now, the goddess's followers just move it from me. They seem to delight in tricking me. I can't tell you how many fake fiddles I've nearly stolen by mistake. Rose sighs and rubs her forehead. And you think I'm going to have any more luck? Why? You ask. Just a feeling. Besides, you said you've seen it before, which means it ends up in my possession eventually, doesn't it? Rose asks. Well, yeah, okay. Tell me where it is and I'll get it, you say. Rose smiles, that smile she gets when she's won something, and tears a strip off the envelope and neatly writes an address in purple pen. It's in an address on Coney Island right now, because of course it is. You'll need to sneak in without being seen, but I'm not sure how you'll do that. I trust you'll work it out when you get there, she says, and slides the paper across to you. You pick it up and look it over. On a related note, I don't have any money. I don't have anything except 2 swords and a new bag, you say awkwardly. It's just 1 subway ticket, Rose says flatly. How much could it cost? $50? That's like 5 bananas. You shoot back immediately and snicker at your own mutual reference. Rose perks up, a smile creeping over her mouth, giving her a look of genuine surprise and delight. People don't get my jokes like that. Are we always like that? Rose asks, quietly hopeful. Yeah, you shrug, and lean back in your chair a little. It's not like we don't drive each other nuts sometimes. You're my sister, it's part of the job description, but we grew up together for my whole life as far as I can remember, and when we went to Salem for college, we still shared friends and hung out all the time. Obviously, you're cool. We're related, but, it's not like... I don't know. Of course I get you. Of course I like you. Rose seems a little... not disbelieving. You don't think she suspects you're lying or anything, but it's almost like she can't bring herself to believe that you're telling the truth. She nods and gives you a slightly weak smile, sentimental and bittersweet. I'm really looking forward to that, she whispers. Rose reaches across the table and squeezes your hands for a moment, and then gets up, papering over the moment of human emotion with arrangements to leave the building together and get money out of an ATM for you, as well as suggesting that you stop by a phone store to get a phone that she'll keep active for you in case you need to look something up or call her. As soon as you've started the phone up, you dial her number from memory, and it's only after you've hit call that you consider she might not have the same number, but that worry fades as Rose jumps and pulls her phone out. I suppose you have my number, and I have yours now, Rose says, a little taken aback. You have coffee with her, and let your new, but also technically old phone charge as you both eat your Starbucks sandwiches. You probably ought to avoid talking with her about things that are too significant, and you should definitely not have discussions about time travel and gods in a public Starbucks of all places. So instead, you continue your question game, asking each other about more mundane details of your life. You tell her about the school you both went to, and find out that she didn't go to school. Mom was too paranoid, and also too much of a danger to herself for Rose to leave, so she homeschooled herself online. You talk about relationships, although you don't name names. You say that you're dating 2 guys, but you're not exclusively interested in guys. She tells you how she's never had the time to date, even though she regrets that. You tell her about your classes and what you've learned so far. She tells you about what she's studied on her own. You describe her dorm room in Salem, and she tells you about why she had to move out from Mom's house, that she and Mom were just making each other worse, and Rose couldn't help her alone or get anyone else to help because of the spell. It's jarring. This whole parallel timeline to yours where you just seemingly took a handbrake turn and rewrote things, where you said, what if you weren't in your shitty situation and she wasn't in hers, and instead you both got to be happy together. Where your mom was better than before because she wasn't relying on just one kid to help take care of her, so you all could do better off. It's also different. When you finish your food, you hug her goodbye, unplug your phone, and go off on your way. Solux's teleportation would certainly be easier, but it's probably safe to be an anonymous nobody for now. Looking the route up on your phone, you ride public transportation down to Coney Island, and then walk on your own as you follow the directions on your phone. The address Rose gave you is for Luna Park, which, given the time of year, isn't exactly heaving with people, but those who are there are bundled up and laughing and talking beyond the gates. You use some of the money Rose gifted you and buy a ticket into the park. Not that it's huge or anything, but there's some stuff there. Notably, there's a roller coaster called the Cyclone, which, if you were a video game designer making a lair for a weather-powered boss god, you'd put it right there. June's way of thinking isn't all that far off from yours, and the obviousness of it would probably strike her as funny, so you casually meander closer to it. There's people queuing for the ride, chattering away together, all bundled up in their coats and holding sweet treats from all of the stalls and stands nearby. You get a whiff of candied peanut, and wonder if June really is allergic, or if she was just pretending to be to seem more human. With that thought pointlessly whirling around in your head, you continue to wander around the edges of the Cyclone roller coaster, looking for something amiss. Only when there is something you don't see it until it's too late. Sup? You jump at the sound of your own voice and look around to see a figure that you know all too well from the mirror just leaning against a support beam to the roller coaster. It's definitely you. The other you is wearing black ripped jeans, the same style of red and white shirts that you like, and a thick leather jacket over it to keep out the December New York cold. What really sells it for you and convinces you that this is a version of yourself that you're looking at here is the bobble hat that he's wearing. It's in so many clashing and tacky neon colors with no discernible pattern that it's so hideous you feel the need to ask him where he got it so you can possess this abomination too. Me, apparently, you reply dumbly. Yeah, that's the feeling that I got. I could feel some other me hopping around here, and since I don't remember this, I'm guessing you're from my future. I got the feeling that I should be here, so here I am, he says with an easy shrug. Well, just to throw it out there, I remember jack shit with a side of nothing, and I've been having all kinds of basic shit explained to me, so don't expect me to be able to tell you everything, or anything, you warn him. Oh, shit. How come? He asks, raising an eyebrow. Shenanigans? You say helplessly. Say no more. Other you nods. Glad that I can finally talk to someone who gets it, you say, only half joking. What can I say? We're just the best there is, and that's just all there is to say on the matter, he jokes. Hey, where's Solux? You ask, because as you look around, you can't see your Moira looking about anywhere. Oh, this felt like just a me thing. Besides, he's off looking at cars. I'm gonna make him a magic one because he's always flying and teleporting me around. I want to repay the favor back to him. And yeah, I know we gave up all of that as the price for making him, along with the physical stuff, but still, humans are so cool, you know? Their cars are just really fascinating, and I may as well tour the world in style, you know? He says and flashes a grin at you. Oh, I've seen that car. Very cool, you say, because you'd rather think about that cool car than the memory of a rib being ripped out of Solux's body. Aw, yeah, don't tell me anything else, though. I want it to be a surprise. Anyway, what are we doing here? You asks. I need to steal a golden fiddle back from, God. You trail off and cast a suspicious glance at the other you. You think that it's you. He looks like you, talks like you, and everything, but what if this is a trick? What if June is pretending to be you to stop you stealing her fiddle? But no, June doesn't know you that well yet, if she knows you at all. You're the time traveler here, not her. Really? Huh. Which god and why? Other you asks. June, and because of reasons, you answer him. Like the month? He asks. Okay, so he doesn't know June at all. No, she's a trickster god. She's all stormy too, you explain, probably inaccurately. You haven't talked a lot about June's species because it's pretty obvious that she preferred things as they were when no one knew, and as far as you care, June is June, and that's all you need to know. Only now it's actually relevant. Huh. Okay, not one I know, but I'm down to steal a thing if I need it someday. So where is it? Other you asks. Here. I think, anyway, you explain, gesturing at the cyclone. Your past self nods thoughtfully and then starts to walk off, suggesting that you follow with an incline of his head. It makes the gaudy bauble on the top of his hat jiggle atrociously in a way that makes you so jealous that you don't have the same hat. You follow other you around, keeping an eye out for anything out of place. Soon enough you find it, a building that looks like it's for maintenance and possibly housing the mechanism that powers the roller coaster. Only it looks a little too big, and the two supposedly surreptitious people outside look a little more conspicuously like guards than they probably should. Bingo, I can feel it now, it's all faithy in there, past you whispers, as you both peek around a crate at the building. You close your eyes, and sure enough, you can feel something. It's subtle. The closest you can get to describing it is if you could have something brush your skin that feels the way a rainbow sheen on soap bubbles look. A subtle highlight of something other coming from that building. It doesn't feel like it's for you though, like the frequency is wrong or something. How about I go ahead, rush in, cause a commotion, get caught and thrown out, and you can rush in and grab the thing after, he suggests. Well, I mean, I was told that there's fakes in there, so if you try and steal it and they try and take it back, we'll know it's the real one, you say back in a whisper. Okay, beware of fakes and actually steal one before I run off. Got it. I'm going in. Past you nods, and then peeks out of the hiding spot. First, a diversion. For the diversion, he says, and puts a hand in his chest and pulls out a watch. Holy shit, you've seen Solux do that, but you didn't think you could. Other you flicks the watch open. It's like a pocket watch of some kind, rendered in reddish brass. Inside it, intricate gears and hands tick along in a perfect metronome tick and talk that is precisely on time. Its tick is quiet, but it resonates in your bone marrow, and as you look at it, the hair on your arm stands on end. Your past self peers around the crate once more, hypnotizing watch in hand, and you lean around as well. The lot that the roller coaster is on has a long strip of cars along it. You presume for the people who work here, and the park nearby, although it seems like a lot of cars to you. He lifts a hand, and several of the cars start to rust and corrode, aging decades in mere seconds. The doors fall off, banging loudly into other cars and setting their alarms off. The two guards on the door shout out an alarm and hurry over to the cars. Your double flashes you a grin and runs off towards the building, leaving you behind. What the hell kind of power was that? It was incredible. Not magic, just raw power over a basic function of the universe, over time itself. You rest your back on the crate and press a hand into your own chest. Your fingers rest on your body and do no more. Whatever past you did, you're not doing it right now. Above you and to the right a little, a full coaster full of people are waiting for the ride to start. You can hear the announcement about making sure the safety bars are on and such. It all washes over you until the people on the ride start counting down to the ride starting. You feel them, delineating time with each word, all in unison with the anticipation of what's to come and a faith that what they're anticipating will happen. You shudder, and your fingers slip through your chest and within you, where your heart should be. You feel the pocket watch. You pull it out and open it on sheer muscle memory alone. The dial turns. The hands move, and as you hold it, you feel the universe move to every beat and every countdown in the world, to birthdays, weddings, New Year's, dates when people are predicted to be born and die. It all thrums through you like a prayer. You hold the watch in your left hand, not certain yet of what you have to do exactly, but knowing that since you've seen yourself, your actions are in some way predetermined. Calmly, you stand and walk towards the building. The door is unguarded for the moment, and you walk right in. From within the building, there's shouting, as people must be spotting the other you, but you ignore it and keep going as you follow the trail of your own footsteps that you've left before. This shouldn't make any sense. None of it should, and yet, just like Rose said, it's a kind of instinct. The walls of the building inside certainly give no hint that the place is the maintenance building it pretends to be. Photographs and paintings of gestures and fools line the wall. Comedians, silent film actors, there's a whole section on Buster Keaton over there. "Hey," a woman calls out to you. Your hand clenches on the watch that you pulled from your chest, and everything stops dead. The woman in her formal suit is frozen, and you can feel that everything else is as well. You walk forward past her and along the hallway. At the end is an open door to a room beyond, and other you is clutching a golden fiddle and is midway through hauling ass out of there at speed. Like a dream, you walk past him into the room. The room itself is filled with small end tables with thick blue covers over them, each with a pale hand sticking out of the top clutching a golden fiddle. The one that other you stole it from is a little off to the left in the room, but you think he got the right one. It just feels right. Coming to a stop before the table, you eye the hand sticking out of it, and you look at your own, and an idea occurs to you. With your right hand, you pull the dumb Snoopy sword from your bag, and with a sweep of an icy blade, you separate the fake hand from the table, exposing the hole underneath. You hurry under the tablecloth, your legs pressed tight to your chest, so no part of you sticks out, and then you stick your hand up through the top of the table and hold it there. You release your hold on the watch in your hand, and like a sigh being gently released, time starts to flow again. The door to the room bangs, and there's a scrambling sound. "Whoa," other you yelps. "And where do you think you're going with that?" June's voice calls out. You miss June so much already, and it takes a lot of willpower not to just go out there and see her for yourself. "I'm, taking your magic gold violin for a walk. Can't keep him locked up in here. The people for violin welfare will be on your ass about it if you don't." Other you lies. Badly. "Is that so?" June snorts. "Oh, heck yeah. They're very strict about these sort of things. I shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm working undercover for them, you know," he goes on. "I see," June giggles. "So I'll just be going on then." Other you tries. "Nah," June says, and there's a crackle of electricity. "Oh, you're June. Right. Violin? What violin?" Other you says with obvious nerves. "Yep, that's me. Wait, you're Dirk's kid, right? The whole Antichrist deal?" June asks excitedly. "Dirk? Oh, bro. Yeah, not that I'm all that fond of the title when it comes to me. Just call me Dave, yeah? Other you says uneasily. Of course, Dave. I've been wanting to meet you, actually. You want to go walk around the park or something? Have you seen much of Earth? June asks and moves over all of that with grace. A little. We're still working out where we want to go. I kind of want to see all the places that I can. Everything humans would put on their must-see list and all. Your past self says. We? June asks. Right, sorry, Solux. He's normally with me. He's my Moiril and familiar, you explain. Wait, what was that second thing? Cool. Oh, shit, have you been to Vegas yet? You have to go to Vegas. I've got these 2 followers there. They're awesome magicians and so fun to talk to. Well, one of them is. They do these big shows. You have to go, June tells him eagerly. That does sound pretty cool, actually, but, other you pauses. Yeah, I'm taking that back. You can't keep my golden fiddle. I won that, fair and square. June snorts. You hear her walk over to you and place the thing right in your hand, assuming that you're one of the fake stands and not a real person. Okay. Hey, can you drive in Vegas? Because Solux was picking out what kind of car he wanted me to make him, and I really want to try it. Your past self says brightly, and you hear June walk back to him. June leads your other self out of the room, telling him all about Vegas as they go. When you're confident that they're out of sight, you slide out from under the table, take the violin from your other hand, and stick it right into your bag. After a moment of pulling your hand free, you hurry out of the room and down the hall. You're wondering where everyone is when you step outside and see all of June's followers standing outside watching her walk off with your past self. They're all just facing the other way, so you could just sneak off around the side. Like some Looney Tunes character, you sneak away with your back pressed to the building as everyone else is dumbly looking in the direction their god left. As soon as you think you're safe, you run like you stole it. Which you did, actually. Several streets away, you slow down to a walk and figure that you should make your way back to Rose. She's got a date with a stolen holy violin. Elsewhere, in New York State, several years in the future, but also only 68 days in the future. Stop fussing with it, you scold Solux. I'm sorry, I'm missing literal parts of my anatomy. It's not exactly comfortable, Solux retorts. Is it actually hurting again? You ask Solux, looking up from his bandage. You're on the floor in between his knees as he's slumped back on the sofa with a petulant expression on his face and one hand holding the ruined remains of his shirt out of the way of his stitches. It's not pain exactly, Solux shrugs and then grimaces. I wonder if I could heal you. Is that something angels can do? I feel like it's a thing I should be able to do, but I don't know if I should tax Rose like that, or if trying to heal you would hurt you, you wonder. I'm not your guinea pig. Don't try, he grumbles. That's probably a good idea. You'd hate to kill him and have to go back and steal him again. You're pretty sure that Aradia won't let you do that twice. You're kind of distracted. You're kind of surprised that Aradia hasn't shown up here to requisition and repurpose your skull into a particularly goth chalice to drink from. You try to distract yourself from that thought and gently prod around Solux's stitched up side, trying to see if he's bleeding internally or not. It doesn't feel like it. It's starting to bruise in a nasty way around the wound itself now that he's alive again. Worst part is the ochre-bruised finger marks leading to the stitched-up line where his rib was, yet more evidence of the devil ripping that out of him. Still, he's not bruised up in any way that makes you think that his chest is filling with blood or something. To be honest, you're not a medic. You don't know much what you're looking for. He does seem mostly okay, though, especially considering what happened. Do you think Garati is pissed about me taking you back? You ask him uneasily, and roll new bandages from that stash that Kanaya located for you from the medical cabinet upstairs. You don't know where she is now, probably talking to Rose, if that you heard from earlier about Rose being immortal is any clue. You stole me from death herself. Yeah, I think she's pissed. Plus, you vandalized 2 lifetimers, Solix tells you flatly. She's not shown up here to take you back or get even with me, though, you point out. Aradia's strange like that. She was pissed that Dave pulled the trick he did and messed with everyone's lifetimes in doing it. Not to mention the effect it had on the afterlife. Eesh. She was furious at me because I'm as involved with Dave's stuff as anyone could possibly be. It doesn't mean that she didn't care about me. She was sad we wouldn't see each other again with me being dead, Solux says softly. That makes sense in a way. Maybe she prefers him alive as well, even if it breaks her own rules, but still, she had a good point about how Solux was when he was dead. I don't know if I owe you an apology or not, you admit. Solux looks at you with the predatory and menacing smile that shows off all of his sharpest teeth. Never going to say no to having you in my debt, but do you want to be specific so I know what I'm holding over your head? He asks with a mean teasing lilt to his voice. You look up at him from your place on the floor, and how, even though he's hurt and his eyes are all wrong, it's still him. He's still alive and here, and you so nearly didn't have that ever again. Your lip wobbles slightly, even though you try to stop it, but Solux catches the shift in your expression, and the meanness drops away. He doesn't really mean it. He hates you, but he doesn't really hate you, and now he's concerned. KK? He asks, gentle and wary. It's... When you were there, you were this spirit sort of thing. Aradia gave the impression that you were like that until Dave dies. But you weren't hurt or stressed or anything bad. It was like you were sleeping, you say, and drop your gaze to his bony knees. You weren't worried about Dave or any of us. You weren't hurt, missing parts, or being dragged on some end-of-the-world mission. I brought you back because we need you, and I couldn't... The idea of never seeing you again wasn't something I could think about or deal with. But now you're hurt, and you have all this danger to throw yourself at, and you go on as guilt wells up within you like an ever-flowing fountain. I'm glad you got me back. I have shit to do still, and I'm not leaving Dave with Bro. If I'd woken up in some afterlife with you and you told me you'd just left me sleeping through all of this, I wouldn't have forgiven you, Solux tells you empathetically, staring you down as if daring you to look away first. That's okay. I don't think I'd have forgiven me either, you admit. So you feel guilty about either outcome? Stop stealing my duality thing, he says mockingly. Shut up. I'm the master of guilt, you should know that. You've got more memories with me than I have with you, even if I have picked some more up through dreams and whatever, you say glumly. You can't help feel like you've forever lost something really important there. Wait, I can tell you about it now. The spell doesn't apply anymore, Solux gasps. Yes, please tell me, I have to know, you say eagerly, your focus narrowing in on him. Solux's eyes go wide and he jerks back from you a little. His mouth opens and you can see him hesitating for a second before he finally speaks. Don't take this the wrong way, but you are kind of covered in eyeballs right now, Solux tells you and carefully points at you without coming close enough to touch. You turn your head and look down at your arm, and even though you're wearing a hoodie, there are glowing eyes all over your body. They're not quite spectral, more like a holographic illusion, or how 3D films look when you have the glasses on. They're floating, not quite touching you, but very clearly a part of you. Each eye is gold, it's edged with gold, the whites of them glow, and their irises are blood red. Looking down at your chest, you see similarly covered, and figured it must be near enough your entire body. Closing your normal person eyes, you find you can still see Solux, but from all these different angles at once. There's this energy flowing between the two of you, warm and intense in its feeling. I can see you with them, and some connection between us, you tell him and open your eyes again. It must be a light thing, or a light via blood anyway, Solux says, and leans a little closer to you, arms to see the eyes better. Just keep saying things like they mean anything. So what if I'm doing another weird angel thing? Tell me about us, you remind him. Fine. After the time in the bar, he starts. Your eyes focus sharply, and all at once you're not in the Lalonde house at all. You're drifting in the back of a red car. You and Solux are somewhat transparent, which helps to separate the Solux you have with you from the one sprawled on the back seat. What did you do? Solux asks in alarm. I don't know, you tell him, just as lost. Dave is driving the car, his fingers idly tapping out a little beat on the steering wheel as he goes. To your side, the sleeping Solux shifts and groans. Did the nap help? Dave asks, glancing back for a moment. Oh, fuck, this is after the bar. Dave came back after you left and we drove off, Solux groans. At Solux's side, his past self rolls over on the back seat, his cheeks smushed against the leather. I'm never drinking again, he croaks. There might be somewhere between never again and what you did that might work better, you know, Dave says teasingly. Just kick me while I'm down here, why don't you? Past Solux grumbles and pushes himself upright on the seat. He looks blarily around, and then clumsily wriggles over the top of the passenger seat and falls into place with a thump and some cursing. Could have teleported, Dave points out. Would have either left my brain behind or barfed, Solux mutters. I still don't like drinking that much now. That sucks so bad. Your Solux complains and moves into the seat that his former self just vacated. You move up a little as well, and it gives you the height to see the sneaky little expression on Dave's face. So, this is your memory that I'm somehow seeing? You check. Yeah, light shit, I guess. Solux shrugs. So, about kicking you when you're down, Dave says from up front, interrupting the two of you. Solux makes an unhappy sound, but doesn't comment. That angel guy saved your ass, put up protective spells, gave you food, didn't try and kill you, Dave says. Don't remind me, I'll stab him next time and then we'll be fine, back to normal, Solux grumbles. You give your Solux a flat look and he shifts uncomfortably. I was feeling really bad, okay, he says defensively. Or maybe we could not stab him next time. He could have hurt you and didn't. Not that he's ever tried to attack either of us anytime he's shown up. Maybe we could talk to him, Dave suggests, because he's a nice person. Unlike certain stabby-happy demons you could mention. He's an angel. You can't trust them, Solux argues. I didn't say we could trust him. I said we should talk to him. Come on, you know I don't trust anyone besides you, Dave tells him gently. You trust June, Solux mumbles rather sullenly. I was not good at sharing Dave back then. It always just been us, and then it was just like he ditched me for her. That wasn't what he was doing, but Solux admits. It felt like it, you guess, and Solux nods. He doesn't look especially proud of this. Dave's jaw tightens and he flicks the indicator on the car and gently pulls over to the side of the road. He turns the car off and faces his Solux, who is sinking a little lower in his chair under the scrutiny. So you get to have a Radia, but I can't have another god as a friend? That's not fair, Dave says, his voice carefully measured. That's different, Solux says quietly. Dave doesn't look impressed, and Solux doesn't look happy about what he said either. Neither budges for a few long seconds. I'm just saying that if the angel wanted to hurt us, he'd have done it by now. If he tries, you can absolutely end him, but he hasn't, and repeatedly showing up so you can destroy his body doesn't seem like some master plan to me. Pretty sure heaven would have jumped at the chance to get their hands on you, but they didn't. It can't hurt to find out what he wants. It's not like he ever gets past, I mean you no harm, before you stab him through the chest, Dave says. Why take the risk? Solux asks. Why not? Anyway, you talked to him, didn't you? What did he say to you? Dave asks. Solux frowns like he's trying to dredge up his memories from a well of alcohol that saturates them. We didn't talk about why he comes down here. Something about it not being fair when I was trashed, Solux admits. Huh. I like him already. Next time we see him, we're talking to him, Dave says with a nod and indicates to pull away from the side of the road and start driving once more. In the back of the car, Solux turns to you. So, the next time, he starts, and everything around you shifts to a diner. It takes you a second to recognize Solux because he's pretending to be human right now, his horns hidden by a baseball cap, though not especially well because the cap is barely touching the top of his head. There's a glimmer of don't look here magic that explains why no one is noticing, and his skin is sort of human. You're very yellow, you point out. Solux does look pretty jaundiced right now. I hadn't worked out the blood color change yet, Solux shrugs. I need to get one of these everywhere we go, Dave groans in delight and puts another forkful of pie in his mouth. You're just going to order the apple everything everywhere. No one is surprised, Solux snorts. Your Solux elbows you and nods at the window. As you look, you can see a past version of yourself walking around on the street, glancing at a note in hand and checking the numbers on the buildings as he passes. That note must have been from Rose. Oh, shit, look! Dave gasps and points out the window with his fork. I could just stab him. Can I not sell you on stabbing him? His face is always so funny when I do it. Solux grins meanly. For a guy not into violence, you're way too into stabbing this one guy, Dave points out. Hey, it's fun. He shows up, tries to stop me stabbing him without actually fighting back, and then I have to try to stab him. It's like a game. A game I always win, which are my favorite kind of games. Solux snickers. Yeah, let's not examine why you find this cat and mouse thing with Karkat so engaging, you moron. Your Solix heckles his past self. Oh, is that a black thing? All pitchway kind of romance? You ask curiously. It's pretty fucking textbook, yeah. Which, by the way, Dave has already clocked this and hasn't pointed it out to me yet. Look at the look on his face. Solix huffs, and sure enough, Dave has this knowing look on his face that you associate more with Rose now. Dave scoops up his plate of apple pie and his fork and gets up out of the diner booth. Solix scrambles after him, not stealing any crockery or food as he goes. Hey, you can't just, a staff member calls out. Dave doesn't even look, just snaps a finger and time in the diner hangs weirdly as Dave and Solix leave at normal speed. Across the street, your past self looks around and sees Dave and Solix, looking in equal parts eager and wary. When I saw you coming over, I thought you were going to stab me again, you say slowly, somehow knowing that for certain. Your Solix takes your hand and pulls you towards your past selves and Dave. Oh, shit, don't stab. Why do you... Oh, this is past Scarcat. Oh shit, don't stab. Why do you have a plate? Past you asks, clearly thrown off by what he was saying, by Dave standing there with diner crockery and a fork as he eats his apple pie on the street as if that's a normal thing to do. It makes it easier to hold the pie, Dave answers casually. Oh, so he's always been a little shit about things, you say bluntly to Solux as your past self tries to come up with some sort of sane response to that. Yeah, Solux answers, his expression fond. What a dork. It looks like your past selves are being led off elsewhere by Dave. You didn't catch where they're going. As they walk along, your past self eyes past Solux, who's very clearly bristling at not being allowed to stab you. So, how was your hangover then? Past you asks teasingly. He's flirting pitch. He probably doesn't know it, but even you can tell that's what's going on. Dave, are you sure I can't stab him? Past Solix pleads and gets denied by Dave anyway. It turns out that where you're going is back to the car where Dave hops up on the hood and gets more pie on his fork. So go on, say whatever it is you've been trying to say since you first found us, Dave says and eats his dessert, waiting for the answer. Other you is clearly thrown, but gets it together soon enough. Right, sorry, I just didn't realize that this was going to be the time I'd get to talk for a change. Not that I'm complaining, I guess I'm going to be blunt. You're the Antichrist, right? Past you asks. We don't really like that name, Past Solix answers for the still chewing Dave. Oh, sorry, but that is the role you fill, right? You're supposed to end the world, even if you're not going by that name, that's still what you're here to do, isn't it? Past you asks. Dave nods but says nothing, instead opting for more apple pie. That's good, I've got the right person at least, although I'd be really confused if I didn't. I just wanted to talk to you about that, the ending the world part, I mean. Have you considered not ending the world? Past you asks hopefully. That was my opening to that? You whisper in horror. That was your opening to that, Solix confirms gleefully as his past self cracks up laughing, full body shaking howls of amusement. I'm serious, look, there's gotta be things about Earth that even you care about. If you end the world, there's no more apple pie or fancy cars or anything. There's almost 5 billion humans, or human hybrids on Earth right now, and easily the same number of non-humans who live either on this plane of reality or whose plane of reality would go down if this was destroyed. That's so many people, Past you begs. Everybody dies. Everything dies eventually, Past Solix shrugs. But they don't have to, not from this. Sure, there are shitty people out there, but if they all die when you end the world, they lose the chance to be better. Or what about all the little kids who, Past you goes on. I don't really want to think about it, Dave says firmly. If the idea makes you uncomfortable, then just don't end the world, Past you retorts. Look, Dave says, and sets his plate on the hood of the car by his hip. Did your Christ... Signless. His name is Signless. Past you interrupts. There. Solix whispers at your side, and you see the expression on his past self change from hostility to a surprised kind of respect. Did he just decide you were the kind of person he actually respected, rather than just casually hated? How do you know that name? Dave asks in surprise. I know the guy. He's a good person, so don't talk shit about him, alright? I don't care what you say about anyone else, but he's good. Past you snaps, not realizing that he's talking to just the kind of people who wouldn't shit-talk Signless. I wasn't going to. My point was, did he get a choice about his whole deal? Dave asks. No, Past you says sadly. Then what makes you think I do? I don't choose what does and doesn't end or when. I've got less than a year, and then this whole place is done for. It'll happen whether I want it to or not, and I'd rather enjoy the pie. The whole plane of reality and everything here before it goes. It's nothing personal, but it's not up to me, Dave says sadly. But do you want to end everything? Pastiu asks. No, but that's not the point. Dave sighs and goes back for more pie. It's entirely the point. Look, I'm willing to do anything I can to help. There has to be some way out of this, and I'm offering you my help. I'm helping you whether you want me to or not actually, but I prefer it if you were working with me here, Pastiu says eagerly and holds out his hand. You were so painfully sure that you just had to ask nicely and everything would be fine. You didn't know us at all, or barely any of the people you were so dead set on saving. You were a saint. Excuse me, oh my goodness, sorry about that. If you were a saint, you'd be the patron saint of lost causes, you know that? Soluk says, sidelong to you, the dead whites of half of his eyes seeming much more alive as he talks about you. It doesn't work like that. There's a whole plan in motion since forever, Dave says in stunned shocked. Who cares about fate or rules? Who cares about fate or rules? Not Karkat, apparently, your Solux grins. Fuck fate, you say sharply as your past self says it as well at just the same moment. Solux almost dies laughing, and you hate how he's entirely right about you. Not that I don't appreciate the chaotic energy, but I'm also not a fan of us playing in the heavens plans either. If they've sent him here to pass, Solux trails off as a guilty expression flits over other you's face. What was that? Past Solux asks suspiciously, leaning in towards your nervous and avoidant past self. Nothing. It's not like there's some plan that I'm trying to co-opt you into here. I'm trying to get you out of a plan, actually. Hell's the one who's got you trapped in this. I'm just trying to help, Pastiu says hastily. And what about heaven? Dave asks warily. It's a big other realm up there that your past self flounders, only to be cut off when Solux's other self grabs him by the face, his hand holding other yours head still and making your cheeks squish. Why did heaven send you? What's their game? Past Solux asks. You're the most suspicious, innocent person ever, your Solux adds helpfully from the ground, where he's flopped out from laughing too hard earlier. Are you about to stab me? Other you asks nervously. It's on the table, Other Solux hisses at him. Look, there's no plan. I'm not here on some... there's no conspiracy, Other you insists. But who sent you? What's their angle? Dave asks. No angle. No one sent me, Other you insists and is let go. He backs up, rubbing his face where he got grabbed earlier. You're here of your own free will, and no one sent you? No one knows you're here? Dave asks suspiciously. No, I didn't ask anyone. I just don't think the whole world ending is a good thing, and if you're not doing it willingly, then all the more reason to stop it. No one knows I'm here because if I ask, they'd probably tell me no, so it's better to just not ask, Pastiu says uneasily. You're telling me you're what? Rogue? You're going against orders to be here? Pastoluk says in disbelief. Technically, no one said I couldn't do this exact thing, so I'm not going against my orders exactly, no, but there's a reason I couldn't use Heaven's systems to find you and I had to get outside help. Not that I can give away my sources, I made a vow not to. That's not the point though. I want to help. I want to help you to help everyone. Will you let me or not? Pastiu asks. Man, you've got the spirit and all, but there's no fixing this. I'm sorry, Dave shrugs. I can entirely understand why you're resigned to this, but fuck that. I'll help. I'll try to find any way that you can to get around this, to make sure you two are free, and no one dies in the apocalypse. Worst case scenario, you just have to put up with me talking to you every so often, Pastiu says firmly. Dave and Soluk share a look. If Heaven catches you, they'll make you fall. You know that, Past Soluk says quietly. They might. Most likely they wouldn't, though. My maker was designed off of Silas himself, so his creation turning demon would be admitting some kind of divine flaw. Most likely they'd just throw me in the endless void where they put me sometimes, or this time for all eternity until I completely go insane and dissolve into a cloud of endlessly screaming eyes or something. Or maybe they'd take parts of my soul out until I work right, or something, your past self says with a shrug. Hi, this is my first time, hi, this is my first time first full conversation with you both. We're not even 5 minutes in. How about I immediately crack and tell you about my deep personal trauma, you shout, throwing your hands in the air. There's a sudden silence from past Solux and Dave, so it's not like you're even talking over anyone right now. It made us realize that you were probably a lot like us, Solux says with a shrug. Past you says, in a shocking moment of self-awareness of the dumb shit he just spat out. How the fuck does heaven have better PR than hell anyway? Past Solux asks flatly. Considering the number of marketing department people we have and their own personal punishments, I have no idea. Look, Carcat, it is Carcat, right? Dave asks as Past you nods. This is a pretty hopeless cause. An eternity as a screaming iCloud sounds pretty shitty in the understatement of shitty is the understatement of the year. Are you really sure you want to even try this? Yes, I am. If I die trying to fix this or end up in my own personal hell, then it's still worth it if I'm trying to save everyone, Past you insists. So, about how Signless liked you and not Kangri, your Solux says with a rather pointed look. I can't believe this actually worked. How did you even think I was going to help? How did I even think I was going to help? I think I ended up helping by working with Rose, but I didn't even know that at that point, did I? You snap, gesturing at your younger, dumber self. It was endearing. Also, no self-respecting angel would pretend to be this sincere about doing something so blatantly against the rules for the greater good. You were obviously genuine. Painfully genuine. Disgustingly genuine. Nauseatingly, Solix goes on. I get it, you interrupt him, and Solix flashes you a mean grin, victorious in getting under your skin. You look at your past self eagerly, talking to past Dave and Solix in wonder. So how did we get from that to us, you ask. Well, there was a little while after this where you stuck with us. And then you got called back, and you kept showing up over and over, and it was a little... As Solix talks, the world around you flickers from moment to moment. You see Solix scowling at you from behind Dave's shoulder, him elbowing you at a bar, the two of you bickering in an arcade with him bragging about how much better he is than you tripping him up. You were both flirting. The world then changes to Dave and Solix laid side by side on the roof of their car, staring up at the stars together. It led to this. Solix sighs next to you. So, Carcat, Dave begins, breaking the silence. What a dumbass, past Solux snorts, and the look on your Solux's face tells you pretty well that he stands by that statement. You're still awfully hostile to him, you know. Dude hasn't done anything wrong by us, and he doesn't seem like any angel we've heard of. Yet you're still picking at him every time he shows up, Dave says, all faux casual. He's an angel, past Solux reasons. Matuna was too, Dave points out. Yeah, but he got better, past Solux says with a grin, and he and Dave both fist bump. You'd be more annoyed about this if you didn't generally dislike your own species. Even so, I'd almost say you hate the guy, Dave says with a conspiratorial grin. Duh, past Solux says before realizing what he just said and bolts upright. Not like that! Sure, you're always picking at him, can't leave it alone, like a hellhound with a snack it wants to get its teeth into. Carcat is the snack in this metaphor, because he's a snack. Dave grins. It isn't, past Solux splutters. It's not like he's not the same back. You could do something about it, you know? Dave reasons. The world's ending, past Solux points out with a voice bordering on a whine. Nothing to lose then, Dave replies. He probably doesn't even... Not that I even like him like that, and past Solux stammers out. I can help, Dave says in a sing-song voice. Oh, God, Solux whines into his hands. At your service, Dave snickers. In my defense, so I don't look like the only idiot here, Dave liked you too at this point, and he was just deflecting that that idea by helping me because he's an idiot, your Solux says defensively. We're all idiots here. What happened next? You ask, and at that, Solux frowns. Next, you didn't show up for almost a month. You weren't around all the time, but you showed up regularly. It'd be weird to go more than a week without seeing you, but a whole month was something else, Solux says, and the world around you changes once more. Instead of a roadside with the car, you're in what looks like a motel room. Dave is face down on the bed with the covers all a mess, leaving his garishly patterned boxers on display. They look like something from one of his awful comics, and there probably are. Solux is across the room on the sofa with his feet kicked up, and from the quiet, tinny music you can hear you're pretty sure he's playing Pokemon. And then there's a thump from above. Solux is immediately on his feet, with swords out and staring at the ceiling. Dave hasn't moved, but you see Solux cast a glance his way. Cautiously, Solux moves to the window and looks out, then teleports outside as your view goes with him. There's no one out there, and Solux silently floats up to the rooftop, and there you are. Past you is wearing the same outfit you were formed in after you stopped being a bird, and his wings are spread wide as he paces back and forth on the ceiling. "Where the fuck have you been, and what kind of clumsy-ass landing was that?" Past Solux snaps, sheathing his sword into the void in his chest. Your past self doesn't seem to really hear him much, and shudders a little as he walks, eyes opening and closing over his body as he goes, and his wings still not folding down at all. Karkat? Your form is slipping, past Solux says uneasily. "Can you just keep talking?" Your past self says in a hoarse tone of voice. "Yeah, I can do that. I'm suddenly not sure what to talk about except for pointing out how you're walking about like that. Like, are your wings stuck out, or?" Past Solux asks. He reaches out and touches the white feathers of your wings, only for them to snap out in panicked fear so fast and hard that it throws him clean off the roof. Your younger self looks around in panic, feathers bristling and puffing up, making him look bigger despite how his arms are wrapped around him tightly. A slightly dazed Solux peeks over the edge of the roof and floats back, still wary. "Sorry, I didn't mean to," your past self says, pausing to drag a shuddering breath in partway through what he was saying. "It's okay, I'm fine. I can take more than that. Not that you've ever even tried to hit me before. You caught me off guard," past Solux says. "Don't want to hurt you," past you says. He's still not talking in proper full sentences yet. "I'm fine. Can I come closer, or are you going to this is Sparta me off the roof again if I do that? Or is it just no touching?" The other Solux asks as he cranes his neck to try to get a look at the clearly deranged angel on the roof. "Talk, please. Close is fine, good even. Just don't cage, don't touch," past you chokes out. You watch as the younger Solux slowly comes over, ducking carefully under a moving wing to get in front of past you. You can see him looking over everything about your past self, but he's keeping his expression neutral. "We were wondering where you were, me and Dave. He's asleep right now, but I was playing Pokemon, one of the old ones. Do you know what that is?" he asks, and your past self nods. "Cool, I've been binging them all in the car. I was in a gym battle when I heard you land, but it's okay because it waits for you. Turn-based combat and all," past Solux says gently, leaning a little closer and not getting thrown off of the roof for his troubles. Your younger self's form isn't shifting so much now. There's no extra eyes, and he's just in the angelic winged form that you got stuck in on Jade's Island before you figured out how to go back. "Hey, are your wings heavy? They look it from how big they are, and that's a lot of feathers. Past Solux pauses. I blame the fact that I'd been talking to June at this point for this. Your Solux cuts in. "They look like they weigh a lot. About a hen weigh," past Solux says, and you stare in disbelief. Your younger self frowns, still just on the edge of hyperventilating as he holds onto himself tightly, but it seems he just has to ask. "What's a hen weigh?" he asks with a frown. "About 3 pounds, past Solux grins. The sheer shock of that dumb fucking joke seems to startle your past self out of his panic, or mostly at least, enough for him to scowl at the menace who just told him that abysmal line. "I take it back. I'm not sorry for throwing you off the roof," past you mutters. "No take-backs. You said sorry, and it's already down. Same as Fae rules. Can't take back an apology," past Solux says brightly. "I hate you," your past self grumbles, and present you sees the hope flicker over past Solux's face. "Oh boy. You're just a sore loser. You can't blame me though. I'm not used to being cornered, or I'm not used to being concerned about you. It feels weird. Normally I assume that whatever gets thrown at you afterwards, you just get up again," he says instead of commenting on the hate thing. "Thanks, I think," past Karkat says, and takes his hand off his arm and instead drags them through his hair with a groan. His wings stretch up for a moment and then smoothly out of the side once more. It's a good thing his eyes are shut because his Solux is absolutely staring at him. Past Solux gets himself together eventually and frowns. "What happened to you?" he asks bluntly. Other you wraps his arm around himself again and curls his wings in a little. It's a moment before he speaks, but he does, looking off to the side and avoiding eye contact as he does so. Remember last time I said I was procrastinating something for a friend? Well, his maker called him on why it wasn't done. He said I hadn't done my bit yet. His maker told mine, he says tightly. Past Solux looks like he wants to say something, but instead waits and listens. What do you... I end up a bird when I'm all messed up or low on energy, or your past self stumbles over his words. I'm a snake when I'm like that, Past Solux answers, pretending there was a coherent question in there. Well, I'm a bird. Remember how I said about a void? My maker got creative, Past You says, his eyes squeezing shut tight. I get thrown in the void every so often, and I can deal with it. It sucks, but I can... This wasn't that. I was a bird, and it was a very, very small cage. Think about what I did, how I made him look. Past You manages in bits and pieces. At your side, Solux growls softly. Yeah, he'd never met Cancri, but this is probably why he wasn't sad he was dead at all. Dave would never, but him? He does stuff like that. There's things I can't do because of him. Can't associate a real brawl with anything good. I'd probably be a shit kid beneath this, not being down for that stuff. Past Solux offers up. We're not even meant to do that. I think pitch stuff used to be allowed with angels, all holy fury and that, but it's not now. And you're sick and wrong if you think about it. Not that I could hurt someone like that anyway, but the other stuff with that, I guess I'm a bad angel. I get told it anyway, or enough anyway. Past You mutters. Well, I couldn't push anyone this far. Past Solux says, gesturing to the mess that stands before him. You think your past self has caught on to exactly where this conversation is going, or at least what's being implied. Like you've both taken a handbrake turn away from discussing mutual horrifying things that have happened and into hinting at romance. Apparently in the contest of which you'd rather talk about, the least you know which one wins out. Sorry for just showing up here like this. I'm sure you didn't want me crashing in on you when I'm all a mess. I just couldn't be up there after he let me out. Past You apologizes. What? No, I told you we'd wondered where you were. Also, I'm entirely down for saying fuck authority and getting away from assholes like that. This is the exact right place. Past Solux argues. Other You nods, kind of absently, and rubs at his bare arms as if he was cold. What are you even wearing? Past Solux asks, reaching out and then freezing before he gets close because he's not meant to touch. He guesses that it's a moot point though, as your younger self sees the movement and steps closer, enough so that Solux's hand brushes your arm. I'm sorry. Past You mumbles an apology and rests his head on Solux's shoulders, his wings curling around the startled demon. I'll overlook it this time. Other Solux says in response to that apology, and one of his hands moves to rest on Past You's side, and you're pretty sure the other is somewhere in your wing. It just escalated from there. It wasn't like I pitied you. I still hated you, but it was... I could hate you and be okay with keeping you together after Cancri fucked you up. I was pretty much doomed when this happened. I think it was the same for you too. There was Dave too, and yeah, your interest in this whole seeing us to stop the end of the world became not just that, I think, Solux says. How did me and Dave go? You ask. With wildly incompetent flirting on both sides. Same as this time, pretty much. I didn't see you kiss the first time either, so I don't think this'll show you whatever it is you're doing to get this, Solux says, gesturing around. And ours? You ask. The world around you shifts to a boat. Dave is sat on the railings with his feet hooked around them so he can lean back over the edge and stare at the sky. Above you, the northern lights shift, casting technicolor lights over everything. Dave sits up, looking like a kid on his birthday, faced with a pile of presents. I'm going onto the top of the ship. I want to take pictures, Dave says eagerly, and before either of your past selves can say anything to him, he's off. Should we? Past You asks. He'll be fine. It's not a big ship. I can hear him from here if there was any trouble, Past Solux says nonchalantly. Your past self shrugs and goes back to looking up at the sky. It's strange to see this from the outside, to see how this Solix is watching this version of you instead of the sky, and how he thinks he's being unobserved. His expression is unguarded. You can see that he's nervous. Not nervous of you as such, but more of a butterflies in your stomach kind of way. He's clearly wanting, and it still confuses you to think that what he wants is you. I'm surprised you still care about this stuff, past Solix finally says. Huh? Past you says eloquently. All of this. You've been on Earth longer than we have. I figured you'd be bored of this by now, past Solix says. I've not really seen this before. Not from this side. I think I've seen it when I've been on Earth before, but I always was trying to fix something important down here, so I didn't really just get to enjoy it like this. It's nice. Past you smiles softly, still looking at the sky. It's a nice view. Too bad about the one thing spoiling it, past Solix says. What, the boat in the way? The rapidly melting glaciers due to global warming? The pollution in the air and the sea? Other you lists off. Your faith, past Solix says with a mean little laugh. This devolves into familiar bickering, because of course it does. Does this result in the same kind of crushing shame on my part that this time around got me? The whole thing where my species isn't supposed to do this. I already told you about it before, so it's not like you didn't know. You ask Solix curiously. No, it was a thing that came up when we talked at one point about what we were and weren't okay with, that you might feel weird about calling it just hate and all of that angelic baggage with that, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I don't know why it was the second time around. You got it this time. Solix frowns. Weird. You turn your attention back to your younger self, still arguing. I should push you overboard, past Solix says, his hand on your past self's chest and all up in his space. This is hardly subtle. Are you two really that bad? Oh, what? You think the cold will kill me? That I'll drown? Past you sneers at him, getting right in his face. Pfft, like I want to kill you. That's no fun. Throwing you overboard would just really piss you off, past Solix says with a sharp-toothed smile. Like I believe that, your past self says, all petulant and stubborn. No, really, I don't want to hurt you. I just want... Hey, you can throw me overboard if you don't want to do that, or if you don't want this, okay? The younger Solix says, and your heart lurches in your chest because you can see where this is going. That is tempting, but what do I have to not want to get to throw you overboard? The younger version of yourself falters mid-word as he finally catches on, just in time for his Solux to lean in and kiss him. You would have expected a little more bite, a little more competition and frenzy that the kiss at the Halloween party had, but this is nothing of the sort. Solix is hesitant, like he's not entirely sure that you're going to let him do this, and you're uncertain, but clearly not unhappy. As a result, the kiss your past selves share is remarkably sweet and careful. Solix's past self is the one who breaks it first, and the two of them both look a little dazed for a moment afterwards. That was Pitch? Younger you asks uncertainly. I wouldn't steal Dave's flush, I just didn't know if you wanted other Solux starts. No, I wanted that. I liked it. I thought Pitch was meaner, more about hurting. Past you interrupts him. I don't really like actual hurt. Mean, sure, but I pretty much always want to fight you, but I don't want to kill you. I don't want to really hurt you or make you cry. When I found you on the roof before, I was furious for you, like I'd fight your maker myself. Past Solix says that last part with a hiss. Well, don't do that. He'd make me defend him, and I don't want to hurt or kill you either. But angels don't do this. I told you that. Past you says, and you can see past Solix's face fall at the anticipated rejection. But I'm a pretty shitty angel. I'm not supposed to question things or help people like you and Dave in the first place, so... Wait, Dave is okay with this, isn't he? Past you asks. Oh, wait. Solix gasps at your side and turns around and looks up. You follow his gaze and see Dave just peeking over the upper deck with a smile on his face. He told me that he saw, but I never noticed at the time. I was just too focused on convincing you that everything was fine. Solix smiles at him. The smile fades a little, and you'd bet anything he's thinking about where Dave is right now. Behind you, the past selves of both of you are still talking. So, I know it's not normal or accepted for angels to romantically hate people, but that doesn't mean that I have to live by their standards for that. because I don't for other things, and I might be anxious, but I really want this, Pastiu says like he's repeating it. You dumb motherfucker, those aren't my words, you groan. What? No, that's exactly what you said, Solix insists. I might have said it, but they're not my words. You're telling me that you can't hear Rose in that? I was getting the information about where you were from her this whole time. There's no way I hadn't talked to her about this thing because that's Rose's advice. I can hear now. I did freak out about it the first time and get all shame and guilt filled. You just didn't see it because I must have done it talking to her, you tell him sharply. Oh, Solix says, and then again slower with realization. Oh, shit. You're so stupid, you sigh. Yeah, well, you're the one dating me, Solix retorts. I clearly have terrible taste. Either that or pretty morons are my type with men, you grumble. Ignorant to your argument with Solux, your path selves kiss once more, and the light memory around you fades away completely. Well, how was I supposed to know that? I thought you just dealt with it. Or I thought you dealt with it well, Solix says defensively. We got there eventually, I guess, you say, your voice going quiet as your fingers carefully run along Solix's side below where his rib was removed. Dave isn't going to remember any of this, and he won't have you there to do whatever that was to go back into his memories. He doesn't even know how to use any of his powers, Solix says, worrying at his lip with his sharp teeth. But I didn't know how to do that, and I did it. If he's a god, I'm sure he'll be able to figure out something, or he'll be able to figure something out like I did, right? You reason. Figuring something out is a long way from being trained and competent against someone like Bro. He's unprepared and undefended. The only time I've left him like that is when I've been forcibly kept away from him, Solix tells you. He's clearly miserable and guilty, something you get considering what his purpose is. That's why we're going to go get him. We're going to break into hell, find where he is, fight whoever we have to, and get him out. There's gotta be some way that we can do it. I know it's not easy, but you're not alone now, and we're going to... I sound just like I did before, didn't I? You grimace, thinking of your past self insisting that you could stop the apocalypse if you all only tried, walking up to the literal Antichrist despite being stabbed over and over, still believing that if you could only talk to him and make him see that it'd be okay. It's still disgustingly endearing, Solix says with a flash of a smile. Am I wrong, though? You ask. Solix shifts to the edge of the sofa, and you stand up and casually offer a hand to help him up. Even if it doesn't hurt, he shouldn't injure himself more. There's a split second where you think Solix might reject your help on the principle, but he seemingly decides that it's not denting his pride enough, or perhaps he's allowed certain weaknesses with you, and he takes your hand so you can pull him up. If you're asking me if we're all doomed, the answer is pretty much yes. I don't see any way this turns out well, but as it is, things are so fucked for everyone that there's only so much it matters where you are. Anyway, it's pretty clear that no one is letting me go there on my own. Trying to get out of that is a fight more hopeless than the one we're trying to get into with Bro, Solix says, rolling his black and white eyes. I'll take that. We should probably get to the car, though, so we can get to Dave, you say, but then hesitate looking at his shredded shirt. Do you actually have your magic now? You ask him. Not really. I can maybe do formal stuff, like our professors were teaching us, but none of my normal magic. Thanks for rubbing salt in that wound, though, Solix says with a faux cheer and a withering look on his face. You roll your eyes. You hadn't been trying to insult him, but you're not going to get into a circular argument instead of... Excuse me. You're not going to get into that circular argument of insisting anything about it. Instead, you pull your hoodie off and throw it over your arm. With your other hand, you take your sickle out and pull Solix closer with his ruined shirt. Hooking the blade of your sickle in the neck of the shirt, you slice it down so the frankly pathetic remains of his shirt just slide off. Here, since you can't make your own, you can have mine, you say, and hand him your hoodie. At least, he only has to put this on and not stretch to take anything off. I'm getting very confusing and kind of hot messages here, Solix squeaks as he clutches your hoodie. I'll remember that for the future, you say, meaning it sarcastically, but the look on Solix's face makes you consider filing the detail away for later. Solix's face is tinged yellow when his head appears out of the top of your loaned hoodie. Despite him being taller than you, it's still the case that you're broader, and you don't typically prefer your clothes skin tight. The result of that is your clothes seems to drown him. The whole sight is adorable in a way you're not used to associating with him, so you just try to ignore it. So, the car, you ask, materializing a replacement for your hoodie. This time, it's a sweatshirt for yourself, just so you're not wearing the exact same thing. Solux nods wordlessly, still clearly thrown by you just lending him magical clothing, or maybe it's just that it's yours. You reach up and pull the hood from the tip of one of your smaller horns where it's snagged, the gesture bringing you closer to him in the process. You only realize how the gesture feels and how it looks when you're doing it. He leans in to kiss you, and you're certainly not avoiding that. It's gentle and grateful, and it feels like how your actual first kiss looked, or at least without the doubt anyway. You're pretty sure that Solux is confident in how you feel. It's difficult because you don't really like the idea that he's grateful that you care about him. That shouldn't be a rare thing for him, or something that requires gratitude. Everyone should appreciate him. He shouldn't have had to go through the shit that he did, but you're sure he'd say the same about you, and that's probably right. Rose and Dave had it rough on their own ways, and Jade's life was no picnic, not to mention the problems that June had. Roxy certainly didn't deserve what she had to do herself to try to save her kids and the whole world, and the whole world doesn't deserve to end. What people deserve doesn't seem to matter, but you're sure that it should. Solux shouldn't have to be grateful that he's not facing this alone. He shouldn't have to be grateful that you love him, or that you brought him back from the dead. But the world doesn't do what you want it to right now, and Solux is still grateful, and when he kisses you, you know that he is. You love him. You hate him. It's all just painfully bittersweet, because you love that his feelings for you are as strong as yours for him, but everything has sucked so much that he's grateful that you think of him enough to give him something of yours to wear instead of leaving him in bloody rags. He's more than capable of looking after himself, you know that, but you swear if anyone tries to make his life even one iota harder, you're going to lose your shit and start punching people in the throat. Yeah, if you're getting affection and gratitude from Solux when you kiss him, then who knows what he's getting from you with how you're feeling. You think you might have got too tight of a grip on the hoodie you just gave him. You're probably coming off a little intense, a little weird. You break apart, and Solux seems a little shaky, which is probably the injuries he's got. He's staring at you wide-eyed, almost starstruck for some reason. We should, probably go convert a car to another god and drive into a volcano to invade hell. You know, normal shit, you say. Yeah, that's the thing we're doing, Solux says, shaking himself off a little and then nodding in agreement with you. Alright, you'd better go do that. End of chapter. Oh, this is a cute one. Oh my god, this is a fun one. Oh my god. We got a little flat. We got, oh, this whole yellow section is so good. Oh my goodness. They love each other so much. Holy shit, they love each other so much. My fucking soul cat. My soul cat. My beloved. My god. I adore them. They are so cute. Pre-event car cat fucks me up for real. They are so silly and they're so adorable for each other. Especially with what we know now, like, yeah. I'm thinking about the Solux POV for chapter 16. Whatever that chapter was, we all know the side fic. Well, not all of us here know the side fic, but the people who know. And I'm excited to read that little blurb when we have to do the supplementals, like a fucking TMA fic. When we have to do the side fics. But yeah, what a lovely chapter. Oh my god, if only I could kudos more. There's a Zen, there's a document in the unda server that has like one of the chapters from it's the moment that Solux is trying to when is it? What's the moment? I thought it was really early on, but maybe not. But it's Solux's POV and he is like despairing. It's before Karkat gets his memories back and before he realizes he's an angel. So I think it's, what, chapter 6? I want to say it's chapter 6, but that might be too early. It's Solux when he first meets KK? That's what it is. Is it when they first meet? Really? Hold on. I'm checking the pin messages. Oh. Oh, I think it is just vague. We could read, like, all the supplementals now. We can't read all of them, except AU, but later. Yeah. Can we read? I don't think we can read 22 seconds earlier yet, though, can we? I guess we, in theory, could. We've caught up to everything. Yeah, I'm talking about this one. This one. Which isn't long, it's a short one. Yeah, but we have most of the spoilers. I'll probably end up saving, I'll probably end up, for the sake of it, just saving them all for later. But in theory we can. That's true. I love that the title is self-aware, yeah. Oh, Skitty, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, Skitty, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So, that, yeah, we, in theory, couldn't do 22 seconds earlier, but that one would be a lot later anyway. So, yeah. And again, I'm going to save them all for after. But yeah, tomorrow's chapter is chapter 39, and another pretty similar length. Getting closer and closer. Alright, that'll be it for me stream today. Yeah. I hope you all had a lovely, lovely time. I can't believe we're getting closer and closer. My goodness, I say that every time now. But yeah, we will be back once again tomorrow, 9 p.m. EST, as usual. And yeah, hope you all have a lovely night. Goodbye. Yeah. We were doing this day after day. Yeah, Zen, we have been doing this for like a couple months now, maybe a month and a half. Every weekday except for Friday. Monday to Thursday, 9 p.m. EST. Yeah. Alright, good night, guys. Bye-bye. I thought it was every Monday. No. We've been doing this all whole time. You can do ! VODs to jump to the VOD channel. And I have all the VODs of all fucking 38 chapters so far. Well, I haven't posted yesterday's VOD. 37 chapters. But yeah. Alright.